Last class included in this document is the Rogue, the original expert, a master of cunning and stealth that are versatile, sneaky, and know just when and where to strike. You know the drill at this point. Armor, weapons, skills, multiclassing, yada yada, they're all the same as they were in 5th edition. Rogues also get the same features as level 1 as they did in 5th edition, as they get expertise at 1st and 7th level. Thieves can't at 1st level, which will now allow you to gain 1 extra language proficiency as well. However, their big feature that they get is, of course, the tried and true, the be-all end-all feature of the Rogue, the sneak attack. Oh boy. Okay, so the change to sneak attack isn't too big on the surface. Again, you can still proc it with the same requirements as before, but it specifies you can only use this whenever you take the attack action, which severely limits how you can use sneak attack, as now you can't use it as a reaction attack of opportunity, and you can't pair it with spells like Booming Blade. It's just as an attack action and nothing else. Why limit it this hard? Rogues can only attack once as it is, so it's not like they were doing double the damage of other classes or anything. I don't think this change will make it past this version of the UA, and for good reason too. It really sucks. Going from there, Cunning Action is the same, as was Uncanny Dodge, both coming online at the same levels as they did in 5th edition. Rogues subclass scaffolding also got fixed, as they get their subclass features at 3rd, 6th, 10th, and 14th level features, which might sound a little familiar. Yeah, all 3 classes have the exact same subclass features occurring at the same levels, which is a change I like quite a bit, especially since rogues have always had to wait such a long time between their 1st and 2nd level features. It was like 3rd level feature for their 1st subclass, and then they get their 2nd one at 9th level. Way too long of a wait. I like this change a lot better. Unfortunately, this, alongside the expertise at 7th level, means evasion gets pushed back to 9th level, but I suppose I can live with this, at least until they decide to fix sneak attack. Reliable talent comes in at level 11, which is about the same as before, but they get a new feature at level 13 called Subtle Strikes, where whenever an ally is within 5 feet of the creature, the rogue now has advantage on all attacks against that creature. It's essentially pack tactics just made into a feature, which totally makes up for the nerf that they gave to sneak attack. Sorry, I'll stop complaining about that now. Aside from that, rogues get Slippery Mind at 15th level, which works the same as before, and they also get Elusive and Stroke of Luck, which both act the same as before, but have now been moved down to 16th and 18th level features, instead of the 18th and 20th levels like they were in 5th edition, where the Epic Boom once again becomes their 20th level feat. So yeah, the Rogue is largely the same as before, but with changes to the subclass scaffolding, plus the new Subtle Strike feature. But geez, they gotta reward the sneak attack. I know it's not a big wording change, but it's still one that limits the damage potential of the Rogue greatly, effectively neutering their big tool. I may dislike the changes to Bardic Inspiration more, but man, this change to sneak attack is really not good for the game and should get an axe in the next revision. And yet, the Rogue's base class wasn't the only thing that got nerfed. Oh no, the Thief subclass also got hit hard. The Thief is the subclass that comes with the Rogue for this document. It's your typical cut purse, burglar, or bandit who can take items off of somebody's person without them noticing and climbing up walls with no issue. And man, did this option get nerfed into the ground. Why, oh why, did they remove the use object bonus action for fast hands? That was one of the coolest parts about this Thief subclass. It limits the Thief to the point where you'd wonder why you'd even choose this subclass. Supreme Sneak now gives you advantage to stealth while not wearing medium or heavy armor instead of at the cost of moving half your movement speed. Use Magic Device now gives you 4 attunement spots for magic items, which is good, but now the magic items you can use have been severely limited, including a new feature that allows you to use spell scrolls at 0 and 1st level, but you would need to make a check to use any other spell scroll. Lastly, Thief Reflexes now says you can use 2 bonus actions per turn instead of previously being able to take 2 turns during the first round of combat, which I guess is a buff since you can now use the Thief Reflexes more than once per combat. But without the use object bonus action, it's severely less impactful than it was before. Second story work got buffed, but that feels small fry compared to the rest of the nerfs the subclass got. Add back the use object bonus action and fix up the magic item usage of you magic device, then I'd give this one a pass. Otherwise, this is a really heavy blow to a pretty cool subclass. Alright, those are the classes mentioned in this document, but now we have feats, spell list, and various other ruling changes in this document as well. The feats listed here all have level prerequisites of level 4 and upwards, meaning you can't take these with your first level feat per your background, which I'm actually alright with, as well as some of the feats now being repeatable, such as Elemental Adept and the now feat ability score improvements. As far as my notes on some individual feats, I see that Great Weapon Master and Sharpshooter both got nerfed, with the removal of the shared feature where they can impose a penalty to their attack roll for 10 extra damage. I'm honestly not really a fan of this removal. Both abilities are fine now, I guess, but the removal of the high risk, high reward elements kind of stings, especially for marshals who could really use a feature like that, though who knows. Maybe we'll get some features at higher levels that'll add something similar later on. Thankfully, they still get Polearm Master and Sentinel, which are as good as ever. They gutted moderately armored and made the medium armor proficiency part of lightly armored, which is good because moderately armored was completely pointless. But otherwise, I don't think there are many duds this time around, except for Kenai, which is still pretty bad. And a lot of the other feats are also just like not really changed at all. So, and now we also get new feats in the form of these epic boons, which honestly, I'm kind of conflicted on. Replacing the typical class capstones with these epic boons is a rather bold change, I admit, but honestly, capstones have always felt kind of underwhelming in 5th edition, so the epic boons would honestly not be a terrible idea if they were substantially powerful enough, and they really aren't. Well, some of them aren't. Some of them are actually pretty cool, like Irresistible Offense, which allows you to ignore all resistances, and Fortitude, which gives you 40 HP unless you recover a little bit of HP each round. But aside from that, most of them don't really feel epic. Like, you get some cool ones, like the ability to Misty Step without expending a bonus action, though you can only use it once per short or long rest, which is completely lame. So is stuff like Combat Prowess or Peerless Aim, which allows you to turn a miss with a weapon or a ranged attack into a hit once per combat, and you can't do it again until you roll initiative. Why not just have some of this stuff just like come on whenever you want to? Like, the Misty Step one, essentially, like, you can only use it once per short or long rest. Why not do it whenever? This is supposed to be a 20th level feature, after all. They don't really do a good job at making you feel like a 20th level character, especially since some of these seem worse than 5th edition class capstones. Granted, these epic boons also have class prerequisites, with a handful of the ones presented here being exclusive to expert or warrior classes, but hey, we might see some of the more powerful ones for the mage or priest classes. Aside from the epic boons and feats, we also get fighting styles, which seem to now apply to all warrior classes, which means that barbarians and monks could use them, possibly. That would be interesting, though I'm not sure how much a monk could benefit from these particular fighting styles. Protection fighting style is better now, though I think the penalty to the attack roll could actually scale with proficiency bonus to make it a little better, but that's just me. Now for the spells, where we got the full list of the 3 communal spells, but also some changes to some of these spells. Barkskin is now a bonus action to use and gives you temporary hit points instead of an AC of 16, which I think is a buff. Though Guidance, which I thought was like one of the best cantrips in 5th edition, got really nerfed, now saying that whoever got the benefits would not be able to use it again until the next day. Yeah, Guidance can get spammed pretty regularly. Believe me, I run a game with 2 clerics who both know Guidance, but man, at this point, it's not even worth picking up. Plenty of spells also got a school change, so, you know, like the 8 schools of magic, like abjuration, evocation, transmutation, all that good stuff. Some examples include like Stone Skin getting turned from abjuration to transmutation. Glibness is now an enchantment spell, which is definitely a much better change. Although I do have a pretty big issue with all the healing spells in this game, and I mean all of them, being turned into abjuration. Listen, if healing spells are abjuration spells, then I think they would be pretty bad abjuration spells, since they're doing the thing that would happen if abjuration fails to begin with. Honestly, healing spells could be evocation, transmutation, or even necromancy before they can be abjuration. That's very nitpicky of me, I know, but it really irks me. The last thing detailed in this document are the various rules of One D&D. As far as the standouts, I've already mentioned the changes to exhaustion, but they also edited the rule of natural 20s giving you inspiration to now natural 1s giving you inspiration, which I like better. Most of the other rules here are similar to the 5th edition counterparts. though there are some changes to the pricings of some items and tools, and short swords are now considered simple weapons. Honestly, from what I've seen of 1D&D so far, I think we're getting what's essentially 5.5e. However, while I do love a lot of the rule changes, plus the changes to the race, background, and feats, which I think are all positive changes to the system and can help improve the longevity of D&D overall, the classes are starting to kind of worry me. The removal of class-specific spell lists, I think, remove individuality to the classes in a change that I feel no one was really asking for. And aside from that, the classes presented here all feel like downgrades to the 5th edition version, except for maybe the Ranger. I'm hoping with this period of the survey being opened up that WotC will implement a handful of the changes being presented here, but if not, I'm starting to get a little worried for this edition. The Bard really needs some of these heavy changes to their spellcasting and Bardic Inspiration. The Rogue needs to have their sneak attack fixed, and the Ranger is fine, though I think some of their features could have a little bit more meat to their bones. Even still, I'm excited to see the changes that we'll see in the other classes, and hopefully with the right feedback in the surveys, 1D&D will become a standout edition that WotC and everyone else is truly hoping for.
Hey everybody. Thank you for watching the final part of my Expert Classes UA review, covering the Rogue as well as the feat spells and rule changes featured in 1D&D. Parts 1 and 2 feature my analysis on the Bard and Ranger classes respectively. Make sure to check those out. Thank you all. Stay cheesy.